once again, I must say, yo, the black movement is moving strong. I must say that. Yes, the black movement is moving strong. It has to be because I'm actually impressed by some of the people. Like anybody who knows me, I'm not necessarily a fan of the Nation of Islam, right? And that's due to my research and things. But I can also contest to seeing certain things in this great totality, and yes, I can say I can see its power. That's all I can say, right? So the reason why I'm making this is because Minister Louis Farrakhan had did a show ironically on the same day that I was doing the show. So I never even knew about his show, right? And then ironically I did a show about Kanye and his reference to Minister Farrakhan that I had missed on the same day. Now the thing ironic about it is he was saying and referring to a lot of things that I personally say, and it was like literally like my video when you put it. So it's for that reason, you know, I can go again because there's many a times I've literally supported, Farrakhan's words. There has been he had made a reference to an elephant, right? And how, this biggest animal in the circus is trained, from youth, how to pick this spike up, the same spike that holds it prisoner, right? So I can always contest to, hearing things from the minister and respecting it. Like I said, me and, Freemasonry and all of that, that's where, things, because when he was talking, he was making references to these tactics, right, that um control the people, right? And this image, is this the way you portray this image is reflected back upon the people. So when we talk about masculinity in Hollywood right now, right, we could say yes, we would have to be majorly concerned about this promotion, especially to the youth, because, as adults, we miss how they'll promote it to them, if that makes sense, right? So meaning that um when I first heard of Freemasonry, it wasn't in this gay overtone. It was like, oh, this is where the females were, and you know what I mean, like that type of thing. So as got to a certain time frame, I started noticing the promotion, but it was coming from the youth. Now, me knowing suggestion and all of that stuff, I understood that, that part of it, of the suggestion where what was being promoted to the youth, right? Their suggestion. And so that's why I know, certain things as far as, hearing it and going, okay, this is what's going on. So when he was talking and the things that, the minister was saying, I can contest and say, yes, he was warning the devil that people like myself know what you were doing. We understand the science of psychology and, the Greeks going in and, the Romans, basically hijacking, the Babylonian system, which was, the Jews, and how they actually, well, the Jews, should we say, basically hijacked a um a history and put it into a book, right? Because the power was, the word. You know what I mean? And so with that is what he's referring to. Now when we say the word, we mean the influential word, right? The word that, like I said, the same word that is given to the youth when they're referring to Freemasonry as this gay thing, right? And when, my youth, it wasn't that it was a place of, finances, but it was, still, in the sexual overtone, but it was engaging in women. You know what I'm saying? So when I learned this system and how it works, I also understood, like I said, Farrakhan in his speech to the Jews, like, yo, listen, man, we understand psychology. We understand the system that you set up. We understand that, the system between that is even dueling. So the system in America, right, and the system in Europe, is dueling. But the thing is, the system in Europe is also in America. You understand what I'm saying? So they're dueling and creating this God, as know. Hold on, let me um bring up some of these videos. I got them in the background, so as I'm talking, we can let me see, we can go over here to this screen, right? Okay, so you know um I was reading this book, right? And but I'm actually got to do chapter 6. I was going to do it today, but then I decided to do this. Now, in this, I talk about, the Druze. Now, when I'm saying right now, in reference to Europe and England, I mean, in America, I'm talking about turning, how they already had turned Julius Caesar into Jesus Christ. And you might find that odd, but he knows what I'm talking about. And now, what they're attempting to do, is do this also with George Washington, and also King James, right? And so these are actual systems, right? Just like, when you say the God of Moses, people don't understand what that means. They don't understand that the God that they are referring to is Moses, because he's the one who laid the laws, right? So when you think about, the God of, um, what do you say? Abraham, he's the one who that king, that ruler laid those laws down. Now you can go in history and actually find who those kings are, because this is where they play the game of losing the word, right? Losing who it is, like turning Jesus into Julius Caesar, I mean, Julius Caesar into Jesus Christ, right? So through time, you lose, who that is, right? And so, it'll turn around and still turn around and give them homage, but you won't know, right? And so right now, that system of manipulation, right? Because that takes manipulation in order to transfer these systems over, right? You would have to be groomed into something and accept it for what it is, right? So that's what Freemasonry is. And so these are the things that he's saying, and he understands who these culprits are. Their time is up because, hey, people like me, we're going to tell you what the real is. We're going to say, okay, this is the system and this is how it works, right? So you can, now mind you, this is my, this page, right? So this page right here, it doesn't, don't worry about the views because my other page, a lot of these videos actually have more views, right? So, but I don't care. I'm not here for that. So anyway, these titles right here in this book, right, is the breakdown of these systems, spirituality, right, the Jews, the Celtics, all of these, these systems, right? Satanism, spirituality, all of these systems are basically explained, and this go and mind you, the person who's breaking this down is in the 1700s, right? So let that sink in. That over here looking. Okay, got a little viewer there. Okay, but you understand what I'm saying? So this is that system that he's referring to, right? When he's saying the Talmud and all of that, um, if you see, it says what? Right here, Tammuz, which is, a god. So we, understanding how this system works is what I do, right? I basically studied that whole manipulative system, watched the liars, the thieves, and ate with them, ate with the wolves. Yes, sir. You might not understand what that means, but anyway, um, so with that being said, I understand the things that Minister Farrakhan was saying. I felt like, yeah, he understands that we're coming. We are here, right? The black revolutionist, the black, mind, the revolutionist mind is free. It would have to be liberated of the lie. You can't fight an enemy if you don't know what the enemy is doing. And he's no longer having to beat you, not to say they won't, those are, the implements, but majority of the people can be controlled simply by the word. And so they implement these people, even if it's the Charles Barkley's, LeBron James, right? You through their time you knew what it was and you ignored it because you was with it as well, right? But then when the times now, when more people are like, yo, listen, we understand what's going on. And so you can't use your flunky that's sitting right next to me, right? That's what I tell you, Freemasonry, the G is government. And so these are, the those with the undercover badges for the undercovers, the informant of the informants, right? Those who can amp you up to do certain things and put certain things in position because they know your character, right? So it doesn't always necessarily mean, mind control, in the sense of, you know, always being a suggestion. A person could know how you are, and they can facilitate a situation for you. And that's when you can look at, a Tupac and understand, his history, right? Who he was, right? And how you can be dealing with a system. That's why he might be saying Illuminati, because he was doing the dear mamas and all of those, and for that system to turn around and allow him to be accused as a rapist, Illuminati, because Illuminati and that, that Freemasonic system, I told you, is a vagina and this, that, and the third. So you look at the feminist movement, spirituality, all of these things, and you can see he's like, yo, how I'm going hard body for this system, this, and this is how you repay me. That's the reason why the name of his, album after that was Illuminati. You might not understand that if you don't know about Freemasonry and really understand what it is. So when you read, the 120 lessons, you know what I'm saying, and you hear certain things, if you really study that and you step back and you looked at the things that I present, you would see the 120. You would understand it through these videos, right? Through these videos right here, let's say, the Moorish thing right here, but this is all history of those within our black community who's been using this system. So the only way to break it is to reveal those who have been utilizing and working with them, right? Because you can have a word that's benefiting us. Now I can see, oh yeah, we, Moors or Israelites or all of that. I can see that understanding. Might not agree with it myself, right? But I also know other words, the words, and those words are to keep you in a submissive form. So even inside those, you might hear the Yanni worshiping. You might hear it. You know what I'm saying? You can see the Yanni right there if you're paying attention. You should be able to see it, right? And so in the name of the queen and this, that, and the third, so you would understand, right? So when we talking about, the Jews and, their involvement with slavery and the science of coming out of this womb, and how if you coming from this womb, you were born into this slavery, right? So these are the different things that I'm personally touching on and he's referencing to, right? So, this is what I'm saying. If you truly want to have a grand understanding to what's, being said to you, you have to understand the secret language, the language of the mind control, right? You would have to understand, let me see here, pull up some of these videos, right? You would understand this stuff right here, right? The truth and practices. You would understand, the high as below, if you looked at and you understood the science of Job, the book of Job, right? Words is full of secret, the world is full of secret societies explaining the mark of the beast, this way of being able to get paid in secret for the wicked things you have done inside your community, right? So we have chicanery, which is a system of, now you might look into social construct, and you would understand what chicanery is in a working diagram, right? To understand, to say chicanery is one thing and give a breakdown, but then if you're looking for this working diagram, looking to um social construct, and you'll see how that word is used. That's why I say it's the word. So it's like they're telling you what is happening while at the same time taking advantage of any of those who do not take the time to read and study, right? Study the devil, and the devil practices, trigonometry of the mind. So the number one thing you would want to study is psychology, right? So that's what I do. I study psychology and study the devil along the way. So then, you understand this devil wicked religion, right? So these are the things that he's making reference to, right? Then let me see, sacrificing, we talk about that. I'm just talking about actually the things that he, or where, you put this up against the 120, how not to become a Freemason, tool, right? And then if you see right there Prince Hall, right? And I talk on, and like I said, I do a whole breakdown on how they turned Julius Caesar into Jesus Christ. Now, this is, these shows right here, because I'm gonna put some of them up in the timeline here, right? I'm saying this to say that as you listen to the minister, right? As you listen to him, he's referencing to these subjects. So you don't even have to watch the videos. You can go and actually just see the titles, hypnotism versus mesmerism. Look that up. Go to an encyclopedia, a dictionary, anything, just the internet, and type that in and see what you get, right? Look, I talk about, the Scottish Rite and how they used in this system. Hypnotism, mesmerism for sure. Then I talk about shills and con men, right? Then also you want to look into, the Scottish Rite, King James, right? And the Druze. So these are the many different sections that, that literally explains, like, if you understand hypnotism and mesmerism, you understand when he was talking about the entertainment industry. And that includes sports and how to utilize these people because you have them on your payroll. There's a noose around their necks. They're bound because their family, right? Most likely the people um who are benefiting from right this, and some of the people you might have around you only because, and what if that's your wife, and stuff like that, and she bad, she knows she a baddie, and there'll be other dudes in the NBA or in entertainment, because they quick to tell you how dudes are interested in them. Keep this in mind because that system is the system that keeps you bound. Right? So now it goes beyond, do you want to speak for the people as a whole? Because the people closest to you are going to say, yo, listen, you know what I mean? And so this is why at some point you have to respect, especially Kyrie Irving, right? The thing that I heard about the minister, that when he said about Kanye I said actually as well, which is I question whether or not he had that because, like I was saying, there was a time frame of how he mentioned this, and then all of a sudden, all of these things started happening, and boom, bang, here we go, right? So I always, had that personal, opinion on the matter. So it's just me. I was happy that he touched on that because those are suggestions, right? There's a play, like told you, you can put somebody in a situation, Kanye, right? Or Ye, whatever, right? And you can put him in this situation because he already told you how he giving it up. You understand what I'm saying? He told you get on, marry the white girl. He already told you the slavery was a choice, and the slavery was a choice and all of that. For me, um, I don't agree with it, but I do. Right, meaning that as a revolutionist, as understanding those people who jumped off the ship, right? You know, there was a pretty opportunities for resistance, but we do see those who resisted. So it's like if he's saying it in that way, which I doubt, right? You could give it kind of a pass, kind of. If you're doing that to like if I was saying that to motivate the troops, like yo, listen, you let these people put them chains on you and you already know what they done and this, that, and the third, that's a choice from here on out, right? If but then, like I said, you got to bind your family and this, that, and the third, so you might be put in a situation, tears and all of those things, to where you gonna submit, right? And so, that's who you see the pictures of the lashes on the back. So, no, I can't agree with it was a choice. I understand if you're trying to motivate the troops, right? But deep inside, each one of those individuals would know, like if they knew you sincerely, right? And they knew what your intentions in those words were, it would be different because it's not, and what they didn't do is what you better not do. You know what I'm saying? Like you give up, and that's a choice. We all agree that say we saying we're going to war, right? If you saying you going to war, when it's no retreat, no surrender, it's freedom or death. That's it. There's no right. So then, if you turn around and go, okay, I give up. Here's my guns. That's a choice. That like if you saying it like that, but you're saying it to motivate the troops, like yo, listen, we not giving up. It doesn't matter. This is for something greater than ourselves, right? Then you can say that. That's what I'm saying. It's like a catch-22, but I know he wasn't saying it like that because there's nothing that follows. There's no, and this is for Kanye, there's no anything outside of his gripe with, the shady businessmen or shady business deals, which in all honesty, is not, limited to Jews. Now, if we're talking about, this industry that now talking about they gonna sell the same patterns of his shoes and this, that, and the third, sure. That industry, if he has a personal dealings with them, right? But we know in business, this shadiness goes beyond the Jew. Unless you're saying that's, the identity. You understand what I'm saying? Unless you're just trying to say the identity of a Jew is somebody who does shady business and it has no ethic, no ethnic, you know, um, um, attachment to it. It's a mental attachment. It's how you think. This, you understand what I'm saying? That I can see somebody being highly offended by you. Like, what are you saying? Like, you understand what I'm saying? So for that, yes, I can. Like I said, I'm not a supporter of Kanye. I'm not a non-supporter either. There's things that I agree with, but in the sense of Kyrie, right? I'll be a supporter, and with Farrakhan because I listened to the conversation, and I did not hear anything where Kanye would need that said, and when I addressed that video and him talking, I didn't see no reason in it. I didn't I couldn't find anything that said okay, he said something wrong. So for me, it's like, okay, I don't know where that's coming from, and we're gonna leave it like that, right? But as you listen to the minister, as you listen to him, understand what these these warnings are about. These warnings is about this information. So for me, I'm gonna piggyback off it, not because I care about likes. Like I said, I've been these videos been up, months. You know what I mean, and probably got one view, no views. 7 views, 11 views. You understand what I'm saying? Like I'm not. I don't. I don't care. Some got 17. For me, in this subject matter, when I'm seeing, 17, 14 views, I'm like, okay. Those are the people who get it, right? Because I know that, if you start touching 20, 30 people, they are actually going to talk and generate that information. So when I start seeing those numbers start going up, I get happy. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. For you, those people who pay for the views and all of that, I don't do that because I want to truly know if this information is reaching individuals, or am I fooling myself just because I see some numbers on it? I don't know how the algorithm works or anything, so I don't know. I just leave it the way it is. Every once in a while I'll go in there, try to change some tags up. You know what I'm saying? Add something to it. Look at somebody else's who's making references to things, but I notice a lot of the shows, they're coming after what I put out. You know what I'm saying? Because I put this information out, and I know that it wasn't being in our community. I don't care though. I am so happy that it is getting out there. You know what I'm saying? And when I hear the minister, Louis Farrakhan speak and he say those things, it opens the door for somebody like myself to go, wait a minute. Here's where that information is in its um totality, meaning that he's referring to somebody and he's giving them the warning. Me, I'm like, nah, the warning is over. Here's the shots fired, bang, bang, bang. Here's what they're doing, right? Because for 30 years I've been hearing this, the Nation of Islam and all of that stuff, and and they've been given the information, but in so many different pieces that I'm like, nah. You know what I'm saying? It's time to lay it down. If that's if For me, I'm gonna pay homage to it, right? Because for me, I came across it through the 5% nation, right? Not through the Nation of Islam. So I'm taking what Clarence X had done, and I'm giving it more light. if these people lost their lives to give this information, I'm going to make sure that everybody understood what they had in their hands, but probably knew or didn't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? There are things that can signify that yes, they're aware of the information that they had in their hands. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I'm just giving it to y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of these days, cause I'm gonna put it together and I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna take these shows in the background and I'm gonna put them next to those shows. Right, put that information, like put that 120s, and I'm gonna put these shows and show you exactly what this system is, because all of this is showing you, but maybe some people need the manual, so you take the manual and you go, here, this is what it is. So yes, I support Farrakhan. I feel that we are at the stage now where you know, we can take the veil off. We can let the people know, and for those who, even for those 85ers, right? I feel that this information will still be valuable in the shift. You know what I'm talking about, right? So anyway, I'm gonna say peace, much love, much respect to the Minister Farrakhan, Louis Farrakhan, to Kyrie Irving, and a shout out to Kanye West, Nick Cannon, to um, um, Kwame Brown, who else? It was Kaepernick, um, and I'm talking about just in the time frame now of being on that Jaguar right. Um, and like I said, I don't necessarily agree with all of these people in totality, but there's certain things that they say, and if you understood certain information, you would give them utmost props. Chris Rock, um, like these are the people that have, and I'm not even. And if I did shows about, you know, um, and mentioned Chris Rock and Fargo and the Witches, the movie. Hold on, I should have the Witches up in here, right? Or is that on my other page? Cause yeah, it's on the other page. But anyway, I did shows about the witches, so people know how I, am, when it comes down to, Chris Rock anyway, and giving him his props for trying to get the message out through Hollywood, through these scripts and these shows, right? Because that's how this system works, the system of mind control. So once you understand this system and you go back and you listen to these people, you would say, "Damn, they've been really telling us the whole time. We just weren't doing the number one thing, research, because you would only way for you to free, like, the system is geared for the liar to simply tell you, like, meaning, this suggestive of, right, everybody knows all of that is a part of that system. So the only way for you to understand what the minister was saying, what I'm saying, what you know the woke community is referring to through these different groups and organizations, right, is to read. So what I did was taking all of the information from them and said, okay, this is what they are referring to. You understand what I'm saying? So, I use these books, these references from, like I said, the 17, when they were, laying the foundation. They started laying the foundation, let's say in the 1500s, well, the new foundation. And then you had another foundation that was laid with the American Revolutionary War. So you have that foundation that was set up. You understand what I'm saying? So you have a foundation that when America came, it was under the Satanist foundation, right? But the America wanted to stay under the Christian foundation, which is still the same system anyway. But it's the church as the Protestants and this Freemasonic system is about um separation of church and state. So that way, it's like if you watched Game of Thrones, right? And you see those people in that Egyptian look that's fighting under that rule of manipulation, the mask people, right? That system, right, is through the mysticism. So while this system, right, the King James system is acting like they're getting rid of that, no, they're still keeping that same system going. They're just using the other side of the Bible, right? So they're going to the dark side, and that's when they're promoting, the things that, like the flip over. Like if you say you got one of them books, but it's a two book. Like if you flip it over one way, it's like that. So, but it always in the same story. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. But I'm gonna let y'all go. I wanted to give the minister a shout out because he was touching on, and matter of fact, if I can get at least the audio, I will be doing a show and doing an actual breakdown, which I had plans to do now, to be honest. So I'll probably just do this show all over again once I'm able to get the audio. And then that's why I had this stuff, because I was gonna line it up with it and go, okay, see this part right here. So I'm just working off my mind. Right. So I'm gonna let y'all go until next time. Peace. And I will be doing chapter 6 of the Master's Carpet, if not most likely tomorrow. All right. Anyway, we up out of here. Peace.